I'm John Stahl-Wert, and along with my colleagues at Center for Serving Leadership, we're devoted to supporting and encouraging men and women around the world to make the biggest positive impact they can possibly make through their leadership. There's an old Chinese proverb that says that the very best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, and the second best time to plant a tree is now. And I don't think that the primary point of that proverb is to illustrate the reality of grace, but I hear echoes of grace in that proverb. And I want to reflect a little bit on how grace functions in our growth journey and in our leadership practice in this manner. I work with leaders every day who have family issues and business issues and other kinds of problems that they have a lot of regrets about. And they look back and they say, boy, I should have worked on this a long time ago. In that sense, they're picking up on the theme of the Chinese proverb. I don't think a week passes when someone in their 50s or 60s doesn't say to me, I wish we had met 25 years ago. I just wish we had met 25 years ago. To which I always say, you wouldn't have gotten any help from me 25 years ago, because the things that I am sharing that you find helpful, and I'm glad you find them helpful, I didn't understand 25 years ago. So that wish wouldn't be particularly useful were you to be able to execute upon it. I also frequently talk to young leaders who are reluctant to take a little time out of their work to get better. I'm okay. I could do this later for this reason and the next. This isn't the most convenient time for me to get better at my craft. And I tell them, I don't think there has ever been someone that I've worked with who regretted starting the journey of getting better as soon as they did. I don't think I've met the person who said, boy, I worked on improving myself too soon. But grace is stitched in here. And I just want to say a word of encouragement to you. There is a discouragement factor that always afflicts us. People look at where they are, and then they look back at the things that they could have done better, or the losses that they suffered because they did things in certain ways, or they didn't understand what they should have understood in the past. And then they think, boy, I should have done this sooner, or I'm too late. And I want to tell you that there is no too late. Well, as long as we're breathing, there's no too late. And it's interesting to me how this is the case. We come to a place in our journey where we recognize that we need to take another step. Could have recognized it sooner. I'll give you that. Didn't recognize it now. We arrive at a point where we realize there's something that we need to change. Could have realized it sooner. Didn't. Realizing it now. And there is no gain to us. It's natural, it's human, but there's no gain to us in going into deep regrets and beating ourselves up and essentially putting ourselves into a position where we're stuck because we're as late as we are. We start when we start. We get better when we get better. There's another old saying that, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and it's built into life. Something that is false. The brass ring is only extended to us once. You got to grab it. That's not true. Grace delivers opportunities for us to make a change, to take a step, to break a habit every day, every moment. Morning by morning, there are new mercies, new opportunities. Life gives us generously through the grace that is stitched right into the fabric and the structure of the universe, opportunities for fresh starts. And I've seen this in every kind of business. You look at a man like Colonel Sanders. boy, he should have been successful sooner. I don't have the data on Colonel Sanders. You can look it up, but that man was good at frying chicken with his herbs and spices for a very, 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 very long time before he figured out how to get that to a market. And then one day he figured out how to get it to a market. He figured it out when he did. And he sustained himself over those many years. One of the things we do at Center for Serving Leadership in our Serving Leader cohorts, which we offer in many, many places, is we do a breakthrough goal at the end. And I just want to share a little bit about what I've watched in breakthrough goals. I have watched breakthrough goal presentations thousands of times. And what is a breakthrough goal? The person in a cohort with other fellow learners has gone through, weeks or months or up to half a year of training with us in understanding the 5 actions of serving leadership, how to get meaning out of us and down into our people so increasingly they show up with a sense of, this is good. I'm doing my best today. I'm all in. I'm engaged. I don't have to be told what to do because I realize now that when I do my job, I need to do it excellently because I see the difference I make. Or we take them through Raise the Bar, which is about values, where we get our values up and out of us and down into them. And we take them through Blaze the Trail, where we get our sense of mission and how we deliver value to the customer up and out of us and down and into them. And we help them understand how they're hardwired, their strengths, their passion, their motivations, so that they can bring more of what they are best at to the task in team with others, and we help them learn how to grow others. So we take them through a very disciplined body of work, and then on the last day, we do a breakthrough goal. And in the breakthrough goal, we set them up to think in a disciplined way about something that they really want to do at a breakthrough level, not just a tweak, not just a marginal adjustment, but something that's on their mind that they want to address. And invariably, what comes to the fore in those breakthrough goal days is things that have been on that person's mind for a while, including usually things that they have been discouraged about or have regrets about or have felt hopeless about. They haven't done something to address it, and they come forward. And we give broad liberty on Breakthrough Goal Day for people to focus on anything in their life that they can take what we've taught them and then apply it to doing something new or innovative or structured more strategically so that it puts them at a different place in their enterprise or in their family or what have you. And then we keep track of what happens to those breakthrough goals. And grace, the tree that is planted today, could have been planted 20 years ago. Boy, we'd have shade already. Yeah, but we planted it today. And there's shade pretty soon. Pretty soon we realize that it wasn't too late. Pretty soon we're glad we did it, even though the day we did it, maybe we beat ourselves up unnecessarily. The grace that is stitched into life becomes very, very visible, as we do this. And let me give you a couple of examples of some breakthrough goals, and I'll be relatively vague about these. I've listened to, as I said, well over 1,000 or more of these. I haven't kept track, and there are some themes that come through. Let me give you one. You would think that a business owner or an entrepreneur or the supervisor of a crew or whoever it is that ends up coming into one of our trainings would be very, very dedicated to a business breakthrough goal, and many of them are. But I want to give you a couple of examples. The infinite opportunity for us to make improvements that matter. The infinite opportunity. Today, while it's today, even though we could have done it yesterday, to make improvements that make a difference. It's extraordinary. And so one man, and this goes back a decade, came to Breakthrough Goal Day, and we were a group of business people. And this man had been married for a decade and had a couple of young children. And his breakthrough goal was to win back the love and the trust of his wife. Where do you get that in a business course? Well, it's good stuff. It's as good as winning back the love and the trust of an employee, of a customer, of a supplier. You know, these skills of being right, treating people right, living out of goodness, being consistent and dependable in doing so, and making that visible to others so everybody can get on the same page. This applies everywhere, in every aspect of our life, even in the enterprise that's called marriage and family. And so he presented his breakthrough goal, and he said, here's what I'm going to do. He said, he laid it all out according to formula. I'm going to go home, I'm going to talk to my wife, and I'm going to tell her that every Friday night, going forward now, every Friday night is a date night. And I'm going to take her someplace she likes to go. And not only that, I'm going to arrange for the babysitting for our kids. And so he presented all of that, and then we asked him some questions. And I don't remember who asked the question. It may have been me. It may have been someone else. What do you think her reaction is going to be to this? And he said, she's going to laugh in my face. She's going to laugh in my face. And he said, it's going to be a bitter laugh. It's not going to be a nice moment, because she is going to believe that I'm going to break my promise. And she has a good reason to believe it, because I've promised her things and not done it. So that's just one of those wonderful real moments. I don't know anybody who can't identify with things like that. Who among us can't identify with things like that? But that was his goal. And he said, I'm going to tell her I'm going to do it, then I'm going to do it, then we're going to go out, and then I'm going to do it again. And he said, I know her. And her disappointment in me, her bitterness in me, her sense of hopelessness in this marriage doesn't go to the root. I mean, it looks like it does, because things aren't good right now, but it doesn't. She just can't afford to trust anything anymore because of how busy I am and how I prioritize other things and such like that. She can't afford to, so she keeps it all kind of dark between her and me. But I know that there's more deeper, and so I'm just going to keep doing this. And I talked to him a year later, and Grace, should he have been a better husband from day one? Yes, he should have. Yes, he should have. Should he have kept his promises every time he made a promise? Of course he should have. But Grace was engaged at that moment. He made a change, and what looked like all is lost was, in fact, not lost. And this woman came to see something new. Let's be realistic. You know, the things we get ourselves into that are difficult take time. And we need learning time, and we need adjustment time, and we need to offer this to our families. We need to offer this to our employees. We need to offer this to our customers. If we're going to make shifts to improve things, and we can because there's grace to do that, there's opportunity to do that. What we did in the past does not define us for eternity. We need to give people a chance to catch up with that. And so he shared with me, true to form, she didn't believe a word of it. And a week later, she wasn't a new woman. And a month later, she wasn't, because there's some track record that has to be reestablished. But there was a change that came. And he was right that while she had become self-protective and jaded and cynical, she hadn't become cut off. I mean, she might have even thought she had, but she hadn't. There was still a deeper place that had marked their relationship at the beginning, and grace allowed that to transform. We see this in business enterprise all the way up through every part of our operating system, where small efforts in the right direction, small new efforts in how we treat our people, done in the right way, bear fruit. And you say, well, after years and years of not having done it that way and created some pain and some wounding and so forth, there ought not be an opportunity after all of that mistake to have things change and become new. And yet things can change and become new. Grace is built in to the nature of the universe. We see it in customer relations. We don't have an opportunity with a certain customer group because they figured out that we aren't what we said we were. I'll tell you a story like that. There was a gentleman that I've worked with now for 18 years, and I'm going to have to keep this very vague. He bought a company from another gentleman, and that company was represented to him in a certain way. He was a young man. That company was represented to him in a certain way. It had a certain body of customers that were happy. That was part of the representation. And it had a certain amount of business that was already in the pipeline and so forth and so on. And so he paid, probably naively, a certain amount in exchange for the value of gaining the customer base and the ongoing revenue, the in-process business, and discovered all of it was false. That the person he had bought the company from used to have those customers, used to serve those customers, used to make those deliveries and fulfill those promises and have revenue, but that it had been nearly 8 months of not making any visits, not doing any service, not doing any delivery. And all of the customers that he had bought had gone on and found other suppliers. And so my friend, very painful moment as a young, brand new entrepreneur with money having been shelled out, packed his truck and made the deliveries to a whole bunch of customers that weren't his customer. And they said, I explained it to you on the phone. We get our stuff from over there now. We don't get it from you. He said, I know that. I understand that. But I'm making a fresh start, and I thought I'd come by and maybe there's something, and can I just show you a couple of things? And people are decent, and so they'd look, but I'm really sorry. And he made round after round, consistent and dependable to all the customers he didn't have. And at some point, surely with some pity, he started to sell a few things. And you could. I don't have a source for that, or you can do that. And he rebuilt his company. He rebuilt a company that wasn't a company. There's grace there. You say, well, a fellow that buys a company that has broken its word to all its customers and hasn't done anything of any worth for anybody for a long time, there ought not be any room for that. That thing ought to be dead. But it wasn't. It wasn't. And he grew that company to $1 million a year, $10 million a year, $100 million a year. And they're somewhere within a shout today of $1 billion. Grace. Fresh start. Turn a leaf. Breakthrough. Something new. It's worth doing. Well, given my reputation, no. Your reputation is your reputation. Given the fact that I failed before, no. Failed before, that doesn't mean you're going to fail now. Grace is built in. I was sitting with a group of about 25 Filipino women on the floor in one of the barangays, one of the neighborhoods of Metro Manila in 1998. And my friend had built a microfinance initiative in Metro Manila. Her name is Corazon De Beer, Cora De Beer. And so something's going on in the marriage department when you have Corazon De Beer. Her husband Stuart was a Scotchman, and she built a microfinance, micro-lending, micro-enterprise initiative for poor women in her community. And there were 20 or so that were getting small loans to open up small enterprises with training and resources so that they could move from abject poverty to having an enterprise with goods and services going back and forth. And many of the women were marketing things in the general market, produce, going to wholesale at 4:30 a.m. and with their meager loan, buying a few things, taking them over to retail and sitting and selling them during the day and so forth. And life-changing stuff, life-changing. How a little bit of commercial activity, a little bit of business, a little bit of I have something to serve you with can create a value exchange for people and then begin to cause life to get moving. And they were having a meeting. They met once a week for accountability. And this was a group of Christian women who were doing this. And so they had a Bible study. I wasn't understanding any of it. It was in Tagalog. But I was there. I was watching faces. And so they did that. And then they had a business meeting because these women have to make loan payments and there's accountability. And the microenterprise initiative that Corey had built was modeled after a different microenterprise initiative from Bangladesh. And I knew that model that she had borrowed. And in that Bangladeshi microfinance model, if you missed a loan payment, that was it. That was it. You had your shot at the brass ring, you missed, and that was it. There's no grace. And there was a theory behind that. You know, we need people to understand the standards are high, and so they won't be tempted to be shoddy. You know, there's a lot more people we can help, and so, you know, if you're gonna maybe you went out drinking last night and you missed a beat or whatever it is, you don't get another chance. No grace, no grace. There was a theory behind that. I know full well. That helps people really, really take this seriously. But, you know, the human condition needs grace. Every one of us needs it. And so I was curious because I knew that Corey had made some adjustments to the model, and I knew that Corey was a believer in grace. And so after the sharing, I said, you know, could I ask some questions? And so I would ask Corey, and she would translate into Tagalog. And my first question, the one that mattered to me the most, I said, what happens if one of you misses a loan payment deadline? What happens? Corey translated. Someone just immediately answered. It was a very brief sentence in Tagalog, and then all the women laughed, and they slapped each other on the back. And I think I saw a few tears in their faces. It was levity and joy and community and a sense of capacity to be at peace and be at ease. And I said to Corey, what did she say? And she said to me, so-and-so said, we go get them. But it wasn't what it sounded like. It meant there was accountability. It was accountability, but there was grace. We helped them. We helped them because we need help. Grace is a structure that is essential for the flourishment of people. And it's built into the marketplace. It's built into the nature of our lives. It's built into our work. Or if it isn't, it needs to be. It needs to be. I work with a group called Anabaptist Financial. That will translate for better or worse. This is a group of Amish, Beachy Amish, and other conservative Mennonite people, people who dress in conservative garb and go about their lives with a more rural focus and a separated focus. Anabaptist Financial helps with the lending, the business lending. It is basically a very sophisticated savings and loan inside the community. They don't put their money on Wall Street, and they're looking kind of smart. By the way, many of them are off-grid. That's also looking kind of smart. And they have now grown their holdings to an extraordinary level. They are not a small enterprise. They've got thousands of businesses inside the organization with all the business loans, all the farm loans, all the implement loans, those parts of the community that drive cars. There could be automobile things, home, and so forth and so on. And inside Anabaptist Financial, the business loan default rate is nearly practically zero. The business loan default rate is practically zero. Unheard of in business banking. And they're dealing generously with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. And their business loan default rate is practically, essentially zero. How could that be? They are doing exactly what the Filipino women are doing. The business loan, now here it's not going to be $3 so that you can set up a liquid fund to buy vegetables in the market and sell vegetables at the stand. This can be tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, business expansions and so forth. These are big enterprises from small to large. At Anabaptist Financial, the date that the loan payment is due comes and a day goes by and another day goes by and a phone call gets made. Brother, sister, didn't receive your loan. Are you okay? What's going on? Can we help you? Well, there's this and there's that. Okay, got it. Listen, we have some friends in your neighborhood who have gone through that issue, just like you're going through it. Can we send some people over to help you? It's grace. You could say, we're a banking institution. Let's be punitive. That'll teach the people to sit up straighter. Yeah, okay, fair enough. That's a point of view. But people need help, and people need second chances. And the ability for people to try to do difficult things and to learn and grow requires grace. In fact, you cannot learn, you cannot grow if you're not allowed to make a mistake. You cannot. Take me to places on this earth where the economy is restrained, and I'll show you places where people may not fail. They can't afford to make an error because the devastating consequences are too difficult to think about it. So they play it safe, play it tight, keep it small. That is in the nature of the economy of the world. That grace, that is to say, safeguards, forgiveness, kindness, second chances in the U.S. economy, bankruptcy protection. I'm going to try to do that thing. What happens if it fails? Well, you'll go to prison for the rest of your life. We call it debtor's prison. No, we don't do that. We build a grace structure in because it is fundamental to the economic flourishment of people. And a grace structure is fundamental to the flourishment of us as well. All the way back to, let's say, being a husband who didn't pay enough attention to his wife over the course of time. Grace is structured at the heart of the universe. We need to find reasonable ways to build it into the way we go about our lives, both for our own learning and growing. We can't learn if we can't fail. If failure is fatal, we're not going to stretch and try hard things. We won't. We're too sensible for that. Grace needs to be built in. We need to have grace for ourselves. We need to have grace for one another. We need to find ways at work for mistakes and failures to be learning opportunities, not punishment moments, so that people can get better. Standards, yes. Accountability, yes. I watch this in every business I work with. You can make a mistake here. There's accountability for it, but you can make a mistake here. Among the Filipino women, we go get them. Accountability. The loan wasn't forgiven, but there's accountability because that woman, and by the way, everybody in that circle were women, caring for young children, trying to improve their lives. That woman was describing a core reality of our life, which is that if we're going to learn and grow, flourish, prosper, do bigger things for the world, there needs to be the ability to start fresh and believe again and try again and help one another out through grace. I want you to be encouraged. I don't know what you're looking at that needs your attention. I don't know what you're looking at that is discouraging you or tempting you to think that, boy, what's the point of trying again because I didn't do it well before? there is a point, and there is waiting for you opportunities for new things to emerge from new moments of risk and initiative. And I just want to encourage you as you step forward today in the leadership that you need to exercise for the good of those things that you care about today.
For more information about the Center for Serving Leadership, visit our website at centerforservingleadership.com.